In this video, I'm just going to look at the file structure we need to set up for working in Blender with Blender models. If you're like me, you might find that there's not a great deal of order to your models as you're kind of designing things. I've kind of got a structure here, but it's not the actual right structure that I need to use for my project. And I'll just demonstrate here by showing you my Digital 2 Studio folder, which I have open at the moment, and you can see there I've got a file there for the PowerPoint I did at the beginning of the project. I've got the Blender models, which has been the models that I've been working on, and I've also got a images folder here for the image files that I've been working with. And that's not actually really the best way to do this, because if you are following along how the models are working and being created, we actually need to have our images folder inside our Blender model folder. So if I look on my side of my Blender models, I've got a few models that I've been working with. I'm going to open up the brick building here as an example and just talk it through with you. Hopefully it'll open up. Here it is. So this is the model I just quickly created when I was showing you how to do the UV mapping, and it's a good example. And essentially what I did, I created a cube and I've multiplied it a few times and applied, if I go to my image mapping, this brick texture to the wall, so it looks realistic. Now, this is fine if everything I'm doing for the project is not going to leave my computer, but if I actually have to share it with people, I've actually got a really bad file structure here. So it's something I need to change and make better. But when I change the location of the files, and in particular the location of the image, what it will mean is that I'll need to relink this red brick wall file once I change its starting location. It's a thing which students often get wrong because it can be quite complicated, so I'll just go through the process and demonstrate to you what happens when you kind of move these files, and particularly image files which you use for your UV mapping. So I'm just going to pop out to my Finder, or to be your File Explorer, and let's say this is the model, my first model I'm going to use. So I'm just going to copy this. So copy Brick Building Blend, and I'll just go back up a level. And really it's at this level that you should be creating a folder for each of your models. So I'm just going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call it Building 1. So let's imagine this is my building I've designed based on one in Wellington, and it's in here that I should have my Blender file. And the other thing which is really important, I need to have my image file. So I need to have a image file which the UV map is based on, and I'm just going to create a new folder here and call it Images. And what I need to do is I need to bring the image that I'm working with, and you can see already here there's a lot of different files working here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag and drop it. So if I drag and drop it, it'll actually change the links between the model and the texture. And what it means is if I move it from its original location to its new location, so it's no longer where the Blender file thinks it is, it won't actually display that graphic correctly. Now, it's not going to make a difference here because I've already got the model open, but I'm just going to close down Blender, I'm going to quit it, and I'm just going to go to my Brick Building Blend here, and what I want to do is make sure that any UV map or image texture that I'm using is in the images folder and the Blender file is linking through to it. So it's a kind of technical thing, there's no creativity here, but it's this file and folder structure that you need to have correct for your hand-in. So I'm just going to open this up in Blender, and here's the image, and all of a sudden you see that something is different here, and that the material has gone, the brick texture is gone, and I've kind of got this pinky kind of magenta occurring here. And the reason why this is happening is because I've changed the location of the image. So I moved my red bricks from the folder I originally had it into my project folder, and I'll just kind of demonstrate here. So I've moved the red brick wall to here. The Blender file is still looking for the old location, which was inside images and inside building textures. So what I need to do is, inside Blender, is I just need to relink to that file. I don't need to remap it, it will remember that, it just needs to know the location of the file. So don't get upset if you think you've got to do all the unwrapping and positioning of the files again. So what I'm going to do is, in order to do that, I'm just going to click on my material properties. And you can see it's still looking here for red brick wall, but all I need to do is just click on the open image and just link to the correct file. So it's not here anymore, that's why it's not working. So I'm just going to go to my desktop, Digital Studio 2, Building 1, Images, and click on red brick wall and click on open image. And what that will do is it will just relink the image texture through, and it means it will give me my correct image texture for what I've been working on. So even if you have 5 or 6 images that you've used for a texture, you just really need to bring them through and do the relink of them over here. It's really important to do. What it does mean is when it comes time to hand in your project, you just need to hand in your Building 1 and Building 2 folders, which should follow the same structure. We have our Blender model and we have our images. And the final thing, which I'll do in another video, is just show you how to save the building that you've created as a thing called an FBX file, which is kind of an industry standard format. And that's the file format which will be taken into Unity in the third project. So file structure is really, really critical in Blender. If you have things in the wrong place or don't relink the images through to the building, through the material properties, then your textures won't display properly. So it's just something to be aware of in the last couple of weeks of this project.